Marcus's breath hitched as the alien portal before him throbbed with an eerie, iridescent light, casting shifting shadows across his weathered face. He stood frozen, trembling, not from the chill that settled in the dense jungle air, but from the storm of dread and resolve swirling inside him. His pulse hammered in his ears, drowning out the jungle's distant calls. "This is it," he thought, voice barely a whisper in his mind. One shot to save Earth, or be lost to oblivion forever. A sudden roar ripped through the thick canopy ahead, a sound both primal and utterly alien. The jungle seemed to shudder in response, leaves quivering, vines swinging as if alive. Marcus swallowed hard, muscles coiling like a predator ready to spring. The portal's pulsation intensified, its rippling surface beckoning him with cold inevitability. He glanced down at his hands, scarred, calloused, remnants of a lifetime spent in war zones, then back to the swirling gateway. "No turning back now," he muttered under his breath, fists clenched tight. The jungle around him was a cacophony of life, vibrant yet foreboding. Towering trees loomed overhead, their thick roots tangled like ancient serpents across the moss-covered ground. Vines dripped with moisture, and the air was heavy, saturated with the scent of damp earth and wild orchids. Somewhere nearby, an unseen creature let out a low hiss, sending a shiver down Marcus's spine. He stepped forward, boots sinking slightly into the soft jungle floor, every step measured, every breath controlled. The portal's glow painted his silhouette in ghostly hues, warping the edges of his figure. Despite years of isolation, the soldier within him remained sharp, restless, battling the ghosts that clung to his soul. "It's not just about me anymore," Marcus thought, voice tight with emotion. "It's about all of them, those I lost, the world I swore to protect." His mind flashed back to the battlefield, to faces that haunted his sleep, friends turned to ash, the acrid scent of gunfire lingering in memory. Survivors' guilt gnawed at him relentlessly, a constant reminder of the cost of war. Now, in this forgotten corner of the world, far from the scars of human conflict, Marcus sought something else, a chance at redemption, a purpose beyond the endless cycle of violence. Yet the soldier's instincts, honed through countless battles, refused to fade. They whispered warnings, urging vigilance. The jungle might be serene, but danger lurked in every shadow, just as it did in his heart. He crouched beside a moss-covered stone, remnants of a ruin half swallowed by the jungle's grasp. Ancient carvings, faded and worn, hinted at a civilization long lost to time. Legends told of this place, a nexus between worlds, a gateway to the unknown. Marcus's fingers traced the jagged edges, cold and unforgiving. "Why here?" he asked the silence, voice barely audible. "Why now?" A sharp rustle from the undergrowth snapped him back to the present. He spun, weapon drawn instinctively, an old habit impossible to unlearn. The underbrush parted, revealing a small, luminescent creature no larger than his hand. It blinked at him with curious eyes, then vanished into the shadows. Marcus exhaled slowly, lowering his weapon. "Even the jungle keeps its secrets," he murmured. He stood again, eyes locked on the portal's shifting surface. Time was slipping away. Somewhere beyond that rift lay the key to Earth's survival or its doom. The weight of that knowledge pressed down on him like a physical force. His mind raced through the possibilities. What if he failed? What if this was a one-way trip into oblivion? He recalled the last transmission from command, a desperate plea, fragmented but clear. "Portal stable. Enemy forces closing. Earth's fate depends on you." The memory tightened the knot in his stomach. He was the last line of defense, the final hope. A sudden breeze stirred the foliage, carrying a faint metallic scent, like ozone mixed with something unearthly. Marcus's gaze sharpened. This was no ordinary jungle. The air buzzed with energy, a hum beneath the natural sounds. He took a tentative step, closer to the portal, heart pounding, with a mixture of fear and determination. The surface rippled like liquid mercury, revealing glimpses of another world. Vast alien landscapes bathed in strange light, towering structures that defied earthly architecture. and shadows moving just beyond clear sight. Marcus's thoughts spiraled. Could he trust the rumors, the stories whispered by traveling traders and old war veterans, that this portal was a bridge to salvation, or a trap set by an enemy beyond comprehension? He tightened the strap on his worn, tactical vest, feeling the familiar weight of his gear grounding him. "I've been through worse," he told himself, trying to steel his nerves. "This is just another mission, only it's the last." The distant roar echoed again, closer this time, sending a flock of birds scattering into the canopy. Marcus's gaze flicked around, searching for the source. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. A voice broke the silence, not from the jungle, but from inside his mind. A whispered memory of a comrade lost long ago. "Marcus, don't let it end like this." The words stirred something deep within him, a fragile ember of hope amid the swirling darkness. He took a deep breath, stepping onto the threshold between worlds. The portal's light surged, wrapping around him like liquid fire, and for a moment the jungle and the unknown beyond merged into one. "This is it," Marcus thought, every fiber of his being tense and alive. "For Earth, for them, for me." And with that he stepped forward into the rift, into the unknown, into the last duel beyond the rift. Marcus's eyes caught on the tangled mass of vines, clinging stubbornly to the ancient stone wall. The jungle's humidity pressed against his skin like a heavy shroud, beads of sweat mingling with the grime of the trek. His boot nudged a moss-covered rock, dislodging a cascade of crumbling debris that revealed a glint, a sharp, unnatural shimmer that refused to blend with the earthy hues around it. His breath hitched, heart skipping a beat. "What the hell is that?" he muttered, voice rough from disuse and tension. Cautiously, Marcus knelt, fingers brushing aside the creeping vines with deliberate care. Embedded within the cracked stone was an alien artifact, smooth and metallic, yet intertwined with the organic growth, as if nature itself had tried to reclaim it. Its surface pulsed faintly, a rhythmic glow beneath the layers of grime and leaf litter. Intricate glyphs ran along its edges, alien yet hypnotically beautiful, symbols that whispered of knowledge far beyond human grasp. He swallowed hard, a mix of curiosity and unease knotting deep in his gut. The jungle around him seemed to hold its breath, the usual chorus of insects and distant bird calls falling into an uncanny silence. Marcus's fingers trembled as he traced the artifact's contours, a faint hum rising beneath his touch. "This isn't just some relic," he whispered, eyes wide, heart pounding with a primal warning. Suddenly his palm brushed a recessed panel. The artifact responded instantly. The vines recoiled, the stone vibrated, and a pulse of shimmering energy burst forth. The air thickened, charged with an alien resonance that pricked at Marcus's skin like electric needles. Before him, the artifact unfolded, revealing a swirling, unstable portal, its surface rippling like liquid glass caught between dimensions. The portal's hum deepened, a low growl that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of space. A flicker of light danced across the gateway, resolving into a holographic warning that hovered just beyond reach. "Beware the Warlord's domain. Earth's fate hangs in balance." The words shimmered, glitching as if the message itself fought against the portal's unstable nature. Marcus staggered back, breath shallow, mind racing. "Warlord's domain," he echoed, voice tight with disbelief and dread. The weight of those words pressed down on him, igniting a torrent of conflicting emotions, fear, responsibility, and a haunting familiarity he couldn't yet place. The jungle's shadows seemed to close in, the very air thick with portent. He clenched his jaw, the old soldier's discipline wrestling with the visceral urge to flee. "No," he said firmly, voice cracking but resolute. "I can't walk away, not now." The memories surged, missions lost, comrades fallen, the endless ache of survivors' guilt tightening like a noose. This was more than a chance, it was a reckoning. His gaze locked on the portal's shimmering surface, glimpses of alien landscapes flickering within, jagged mountains that pierced a violet sky, twisted flora glowing with bioluminescence, and vast, desolate plains scarred by unseen battles. Somewhere beyond that threshold lay a truth that could save or doom his world. Marcus hesitated, heart pounding like a war drum. Then, with a breath that tasted of steel and determination, he stepped forward. The portal's energy surged, wrapping around him in waves of cold fire that seared through his nerves. The jungle's sounds fell away, replaced by a dizzying rush as space and time folded around him. When the vertigo subsided, Marcus found himself standing on alien soil, surreal and otherworldly beneath his boots. The air was thick with a metallic tang, and the sky above rippled with shifting hues of green and indigo. Towering spires of crystalline rock jutted into the sky, their surfaces refracting light in impossible patterns. Strange, twisted vines writhed like living entities, their tendrils pulsing with a faint, unnatural glow. The landscape was both breathtaking and hostile, a realm that challenged his senses and sanity. Marcus's breath came in ragged gasps, his eyes scanning for threats. The silence was heavy, oppressive, broken only by the distant echo of something moving, something watching. A sudden rustle snapped his attention to a nearby thicket. From the shadows emerged figures, alien scouts, slender and angular, their skin a mottled blend of chitin and flesh. Their eyes gleamed with cold intelligence, weapons raised with lethal precision. Marcus's instincts kicked in. Years of combat training surged through his veins like adrenaline. He dove to cover behind a jagged outcrop, heart pounding, muscles coiled for the fight. The scouts advanced, their movements swift and coordinated. Marcus's hands fumbled for his sidearm, the familiar weight grounding him amid the alien chaos. He fired, a quick, controlled burst that forced the scouts to scatter, but they regrouped swiftly, their weapons crackling with unfamiliar energy. Trapped and outnumbered, Marcus's mind raced for a plan. Spotting a narrow crevice nearby, he sprinted toward it, drawing the scouts' fire. His boots skidded on the alien soil, breath ragged as he dove into the narrow gap. Behind him, a quick flick of his wrist triggered a makeshift trap, a magnetic pulse emitter jury-rigged from his gear. The device exploded in a burst of light and sound, scrambling the scouts' sensors and leaving them disoriented. Marcus didn't wait. He scrambled deeper into the crevice, muscles burning, lungs burning. The hostile echoes faded behind him, replaced by the eerie silence of the alien realm. For a moment, he allowed himself a shaky breath, the weight of survival settling on his shoulders. He pressed his back against the cold rock, eyes closed, mind racing with questions. Who was the Warlord? What was this place? And most pressing, how deep had he stepped into a game far older and deadlier than any? War he'd known. A flicker of movement caught his eye, shadows shifting beyond the rock face. Marcus's hand went to his sidearm again, fingers tightening. The journey had only just begun, and the alien dimension's secrets were already unraveling, threatening to consume him whole. "Stay sharp," he muttered, voice low but fierce. "This isn't just a mission. It's a war for Earth's soul." Marcus's fingers trembled as he traced the alien glyphs etched into the cold metallic surface before him, each symbol a cryptic puzzle whispering secrets in an indecipherable tongue. The dim light of the cavernous chamber flickered overhead, shadows dancing across his weathered face, reflecting the turmoil roiling within. His breath came fast, uneven, his mind a battleground where desire for peace clashed violently with the necessity for brutal action. The glyphs pulsed faintly under his touch, as though alive, revealing glimpses of a shadowed history etched into their curves and lines. Marcus's eyes narrowed, scanning patterns that hinted at the Warlord's vulnerabilities, weaknesses buried beneath layers of arrogance and military might. One symbol, resembling a fractured star, caught his attention. It was paired with a cluster of jagged marks, a warning perhaps, a prophecy of ruin should the Warlord's plans proceed unchecked. "Every detail matters," Marcus muttered, voice low and grim, the words swallowed almost immediately by the cavern's heavy silence. His mind raced over the implications. The Warlord wasn't invincible. His power stemmed from an empire stretched thin. His arrogance, a fatal flaw waiting to be exploited. But the stakes were staggering. The invasion plan was no mere skirmish. Earth itself teetered on the brink of annihilation. Outside the chamber, the distant hum of mobilizing forces vibrated through the atmosphere like a gathering storm. Marcus's senses sharpened. The air was thick with tension, electric and suffocating. He could almost feel the Warlord's legions shifting, preparing to cross the threshold into Earth's fragile atmosphere. Time was bleeding away, slipping through his fingers like grains of cosmic sand. A cold knot tightened in Marcus's gut. The choice before him was as stark as the glyphs he'd just deciphered: unleash devastating, merciless force to crush the enemy swiftly, risking the loss of everything that still tethered him to humanity, or seek a path through cunning and strategy, outsmarting the Warlord without surrendering his soul. He sank to the cold floor, head bowed, shadows clinging to him like a shroud. Memories surged unbidden, flashbacks of battlefields soaked in fire and blood. The faces of fallen comrades burned into his mind like ghostly flames. He had survived carnage before, but at what cost? Each victory was a scar etched deep into his psyche, a testament to the price of violence. "Is this what I've become?" he whispered to the empty chamber. "A killer by necessity, or a man still holding on to hope?" His fingers brushed another glyph, softer now, almost pleading. It spoke of balance, of a fragile thread between destruction and mercy. Marcus's heart pounded, a war raging inside him as fierce as any fought on distant planets. The cavern walls seemed to close in, the glow of alien technology casting eerie light on his troubled face. His comm unit crackled suddenly, breaking the heavy silence. "Marcus!" The voice was sharp, edged with urgency. "Warlord's forces are mobilizing. Final assault imminent. Coordinates locked. Earth's window to act is closing." He straightened, resolve hardening like forged steel. "Understood," he replied, voice steady despite the storm within. "I'm ready." Outside, the landscape was a stark contrast to the claustrophobic chamber. Vast plains stretched beneath a bruised sky, the alien horizon painted in hues of violet and ash. The Warlord's massive fleet loomed, colossal ships thrumming with latent power, their shadows cast long and ominous across the terrain. Marcus moved swiftly, every step measured, mind piecing together a plan that balanced on a razor's edge. The Warlord's troops were a relentless tide, but arrogance blinded them to subtle threats. Marcus's strategy would be precision, strike the unseen nerve, collapse the invasion before it could begin. As he prepared, the internal conflict gnawed at him relentlessly. Violence was his weapon, but peace was his prayer. Could he wield the sword without becoming the monster he fought against? Night descended, cold and unforgiving. Marcus found himself standing on the precipice of destiny, the weight of countless lives pressing down. The glyphs' silent counsel echoed in his mind. Sometimes the greatest victory lies not in force, but in the strength to choose mercy. The arena was unlike any battlefield Marcus had ever seen, a sprawling expanse where sleek alien technology melded seamlessly with raw, primal fury. Towering pillars of pulsating energy framed the battleground, their light casting fractured shadows that danced with a sinister grace. The air was thick with anticipation, charged with the electric hum of countless eyes watching from unseen galleries. Marcus stepped forward, every muscle taut, senses sharpened to a razor's edge. Across the arena stood the alien Warlord, a towering figure clad in armor that shimmered with an otherworldly sheen, eyes burning with cold, unyielding fire. The Warlord's presence was a storm incarnate, a living tempest of brutality and arrogance. The duel began without a word. The Warlord lunged with devastating force, each strike a thunderclap that echoed through the arena. Marcus dodged with fluid grace, his movements a blend of battle-honed reflex and tactical genius. He wasn't merely reacting. He was calculating, probing the Warlord's defenses for a weakness. "You think you can challenge me, human?" The Warlord snarled, voice like grinding metal. "Your kind is weak, your resistance meaningless." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Strength without strategy is folly," he replied, voice low but resolute. The Warlord's arrogance was his Achilles' heel. In his rage, he overcommitted, leaving openings that Marcus exploited with deadly precision. A swift feint here, a calculated retreat there. Each move a step closer to victory, each strike a message carved in pain. The battle was brutal and raw, muscle against metal, mind against might. Marcus's thoughts flickered briefly to the faces of those he fought for, fueling a fire that burned brighter than any weapon. But as the warlord staggered, wounded yet defiant, Marcus's internal struggle roared to life. The final blow was within reach. He could end this with a single strike, erase the warlord, crush the threat utterly. Yet in that heartbeat, another voice surfaced, a whisper of hope, of a different path. "Spare him," the voice urged. "Break the cycle." Marcus hesitated, the weight of choice heavier than the arena's walls. Could mercy dismantle an empire built on conquest? Could sparing a tyrant ignite a revolution of peace? The warlord looked up, eyes blazing with fury and disbelief. "What is this weakness?" he demanded. Marcus lowered his weapon slowly, breath ragged but steady. "This is strength," he said quietly. "The strength to choose humanity over hatred." The arena fell silent, the tension palpable. The warlord's rage faltered, confusion flickering in his gaze. In that moment, Marcus knew the battle was far from over. But the war for Earth's soul had taken a new turn, one where cunning and compassion might yet prevail over brute force. The future balanced precariously on this fragile mercy, the consequences unknown but charged with the promise of something greater than war. The warlord's furious glare burned into Marcus, a blazing inferno of betrayal and disbelief. "You choose to spare me," he growled, staggering beneath the weight of unexpected mercy. The arena's pulsating energy dimmed, as if the very air held its breath, waiting for the inevitable death, destruction, the final blow. Instead, Marcus stepped back, lowering his weapon with deliberate calm, eyes fixed steady on the alien tyrant. "This is strength," Marcus said, voice low yet unwavering. "The strength to break the cycle of violence, to defeat without destroying." The words hung heavy between them, a fragile chord strummed in the midst of chaos. Around them, the assembled forces, the warlord's legions and Marcus's own dwindling allies, watched in stunned silence. The warlord's armor, once gleaming with ruthless confidence, now seemed a fragile shell, cracked by the shock of mercy. Marcus's heart thudded, a tempest of hope and fear warring within. He knew the decision might be seen as weakness by some, a gamble that could unravel everything. Yet beneath the steel and scars, beneath the exhaustion of endless conflict, a deeper resolve had taken root, a resolve born from countless battles and losses, from the bitter taste of survival. He turned away from the warlord, each step echoing in the vast expanse of the arena. The silence stretched, broken only by the distant hum of alien technology winding down, the jungle of this strange world seeming to exhale in relief. Marcus's thoughts spiraled back to Earth, to the fragile planet hanging in the balance, its fate intertwined with his own. "Exile, then," Marcus muttered, voice rough but certain. "You will live, but removed from this war. A chance to reconsider your path, a chance for peace." The warlord's shoulders sagged, a reluctant bow to fate. His eyes, blazing moments before with conquest, now shimmered with grudging acceptance. The ruling empire, the endless campaigns, the thirst for domination, would they survive beyond this moment? Marcus could only hope. As the portal to Earth flickered open once more, its iridescent surface beckoning with familiar promise, Marcus stepped forward. The jungle's dense canopy faded behind him, replaced by the sterile hum of the portal's energy. The alien artifact, now inert in his pack, felt weighty, not with power but with meaning. The return was silent, the rush of crossing dimensions replaced by a lingering stillness inside Marcus's chest. Earth's air greeted him like an old friend, familiar and fragile. The sky stretched wide above, a canvas of stars untouched by war's shadow. Yet beneath the calm, Marcus felt the heavy undercurrent of the battles fought and the ones yet to come. He sank onto a weathered bench near the portal's exit, the jungle's distant echoes replaced by the quiet bustle of Earth's base camp. His fingers brushed the alien artifact, tracing its cold, smooth surface. Once a beacon of unknown power, it was now a symbol, a testament to the fragile thread between destruction and mercy. A fellow soldier approached, eyes wary but filled with unspoken questions. "Did you win?" she asked softly, voice breaking the silence. Marcus met her gaze, weariness etched deep into his features. "We survived," he replied, voice thick with the weight of choices made. "But victory isn't just about defeating enemies. It's about holding on to our humanity." The words lingered between them, a fragile truth in a world where technology could wield unimaginable destruction. But conscience remained the ultimate weapon. That night, Marcus stood at the edge of the base, gazing toward the horizon, where the jungle met the sky. The stars above shimmered cold and distant, yet in their light, he glimpsed possibility, a future where humanity did not conquer the cosmos through force, but coexisted with it in uneasy harmony. His mind drifted to the Warlord, now exiled, stripped of power but alive. A paradoxical hope stirred. Perhaps mercy could be the seed from which peace might grow, even in the darkest soil. "Is this enough?" he whispered to the night, the weight of countless battles pressing down. "Can we truly rise above the cycle?" The wind stirred, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and distant rain. Marcus's eyes narrowed, not in despair but determination. The war was not over. It never truly was, but the path forward had changed. In a universe pulsating with alien threats and high-tech warfare, Marcus understood this deeply. The greatest weapon humanity possessed was not the firepower of its machines, but the conscience that guided its hands. He turned from the horizon, the alien artifact secured but silent, a reminder etched in cold metal and glowing glyphs. The portal behind him sealed with a final shimmer, closing the chapter of this battle but opening the door to a future where morality would be tested anew. And in the quiet that followed, Marcus Caldwell, soldier and survivor, embraced the fragile hope that one day the cosmos might welcome humanity not as conquerors, but as custodians of peace.